there are reports that have been prepared on the two items that we are to discuss. We are to discuss the item on the refuse dump. As you know, we've had a challenge around illegal dumps, and we need to clear. The residents are up in arms with the issue of illegal dumps, the issue of litter and rubbish in their neighborhoods. So we need a quick report on what progress we are doing on that issue. Then we have the issue, which is the second issue, which is the Pomona issue. The Pomona issue relates to the deal, contract, whatever one might call it, or arrangement that is now there at Pomona. That is prevailing at Pomona. We need to look at it. We need to understand what's happening now and what's the way forward with that process. So I would not want to preempt discussion. I know on this special council meeting there was no agenda on correspondence, but I can assure you that I've received, or my office has received, petitions around this issue. I could not read them out as I'm advised that they are not part of the agenda. And this meeting is a meeting, or special council meeting, which sticks to the agenda that we have. But residents have raised various fora, petitions have come, letters have come. So we need to get a quick report that is coming. We can start with the dumps report, then we move on to the Pomona issue. So,
note the status of the Waste to Energy project with geogenics BV. I think before presenting the report, in summary, the project is the implementation stage now of the project. So you find that the report is giving a chronology from the inception to where we are to date. So Council received several project proposals for the Pomona Waste to Energy project. Some is unsolicited bids, and some is a response to the expression of interest, which was published by Council. In 2016, we received some, and some were received in 2019. The 2016 bids were cancelled in 2018 after the bids became invalid. Then the 2019 process was concluded, but however, there was no successful bidder as observed by the city of Harare. Then in sometime 2019, Integrated Energy BV submitted a proposal to Council, which went through the Joint Environmental Management Committee, Business, Finance and Development Committees. And then at their meeting of 30 April, it was resolved that the town clerk engages in negotiations with the then prospective investor. And the agreement then could not be reached because due to the financial model, the business model, which was found not favorable to the city. Then sometime in 2020 again, the first quarter of 2020, the prospective investor again submitted another proposal where they were now changing the model from a BOT to a BOOT, which are abbreviations from a build, operate and transfer to build, own, operate and transfer. Then first, the engagements on this matter were affected by the onset of COVID-19. We all appreciate that in the beginning of 2020 there was COVID-19. Then somewhere along the lines, the investor, Integrated Energy BV, then changed their name from Integrated Energy BV to Geogenics BV, and the city of Harare was advised through a correspondence from them. Then in January 2021, there was engagement from the Minister of Local Government and Public Works, whereby the city responded and advised the Minister of Local Government and Public Works in terms of the progress with the waste to energy project in the city. Then you find that item 5.7 summarizes engagements which happened mainly in 2021, whereby the town clerk engaged with Zita, seeking opinion on the way forward in terms of the projects. Then you find in 2021 February there was the engagement where the TC also was seeking advice on Zita on the way to have the financial model be further assessed. On the first quarter of 2021 again, there were engagements between the TC again with the Minister of Local Government, whereby it was mainly the issue of progress being requested and being reported to the ministry. Then in March again, the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Local Government and Public Works advised the city recommending guidance in terms of engagement to this project to Zita, which is here you see that the Permanent Secretary was advising the city to engage Zita on further advice in terms of engagement. Then there was a meeting held at the city where it was attended from City of Harare officials, Zita, Minister of Finance and Minister of Local Government, whereby the proposal was deliberated at length. Recommendations from the meeting were documented and consolidated by Zita and submitted to Cabinet Committee on Joint Ventures. Then on June 9, there was a correspondence from the Minister of Local Government and Public Works, whereby it was brought to the attention of the city decisions which have been made at the 7th Cabinet meeting of 2021. June 15, there was a correspondence from Zita advising and inviting the acting town clerk and the city to a meeting with the delegation of Geogenics BV. And then the meeting then was conducted subsequently, and there was the officials from the Ministry of Local Government and Public Works and Zita during the period. From the meeting, I think there was the result from the meeting was that there was an MOU which was signed between the City of Harare and Geogenics BV. The MOU had two key points to be addressed or to be looked into, which was execution of a bankable feasibility study, and then there was also an issue of due diligence on the prospective investor then, Geogenics BV. Then the due diligence was conducted on the investor. This was done in September 2021. There is a report on this due diligence visit. Then after sometime between October and November 2021, the city engaged on a process to identify an independent consultant to execute the bankable feasibility study as part of fulfillment of the signed MOU. The process was not successful. Then there was an effort again to engage directly another consultant after advice from or recommendation from the Minister of Local Government and Public Works on the feasibility study. Then during the course of trying to engage the consultant, there was a meeting held at the Office of the President and Cabinet, chaired by the Deputy Chief Secretary responsible for special infrastructure projects, appointed by the Cabinet to chair the Waste to Energy project. In attendance was the OPC, COH, and Zita officials. From the meeting, City of Harare was advised that there was no need for a bankable feasibility study. In December 2021, Cabinet directed Chairperson of the Steering Committee to proceed with the negotiations on the implementation of the project. Then there were invitations made from the Minister of Local Government to invite the prospective investor then to come for memorandum of understanding of agreement negotiations. Then there were two preparatory meetings before the negotiations of the agreement, and in attendance were representatives from the OPC, the Minister of Local Government and Public Works, the Attorney General's Office, Zita, City of Harare, Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, and ZESA. Then in 2022, the negotiations were then finally held. Then also the negotiation documents are available. Then the MOA was then signed in March 2022. Then the project was awarded the national project status between March and April, and also the sovereign guarantee was also awarded during the same period. Then the handover to site was done on the 20th of April 2022, and this was following the signing of a joint statement on the 27th of April 2022. There was an agreement for joint operations of the site until the 20th of May, whereby after this date the site will be fully handed over to the now contractor on site. Then on 12 May 2022, the city, in response to a letter from the Minister of Local Government and Public Works requesting for progress on the project, the city responded and advised on the status and the progress on the project. Thank you, Your Worship. This is the report as tabled for this meeting.
Thank you. When you say there is no bankable feasibility start, it means we don't know whether this project is bankable or not. No one knows. Is there an intention? Is there intention to do it? What is the intention? How do we proceed? Or how do we get to a situation where we get into a contract without a bankable feasibility study?
The developers, with their own studies, feasibility studies, with their figures.
Sorry, you can't hear you.
I was saying the developers had their own feasibility studies, but our MOU indicated that we needed to do an independent study for council, and I think we advertised for international. There was an international tender that was done for. We're looking at the big accounting firms to come in and look at the projects, benchmark, so that they can benchmark, so that they can give us advice. We have no access to figures from international, but that tender did not get a response, and then we went further to ask the ministry if we, in consultation, we asked for permission since we did not get any responses for the international tender that we did for our own independent bankable study, feasibility study. Went to tender for international. I don't know when was that, but last year. But we didn't get any responses. We're targeting big international companies like Ernst & Young, Cooper, and so on. We thought we could get some of those to come and advise us. But we did not get a good response. We did not get any response. And then we further went to the ministry and asked for permission to directly appoint or seek a company, an international company, which we did. I don't know actually. We approached a South African company. Yeah, with I think with the local branch. We approached them, and they did not give us a response again. We sent an international accounting company, we sent an inquiry, we sent them terms of references on the work that we were looking for them to do for us, and then we did not get a response. I think that's the point at which the minister said, okay, let's work with the available feasibility study, which is the one that was presented by GeoGraphic.
So they did there. We don't have an independent.
We failed to get a...
Do we even have theirs?
Yes, we do. That is the one that was negotiated
By the minister.
by all the joint negotiating, the other parties that came into the final negotiations, which is Ministry of Finance, Reserve Bank, Attorney General, Ministry of Local Government, and all the other parties that the engineer has mentioned.
You are not speaking figures. We are supposed to be paying this company something, isn't it? Per day. Your reports, I hear you, but it lacks figures. Are we paying them anything? Or are they paying us? From what I understand, so that I don't beat around the bush, we are supposed to be paying, there is a guaranteed minimum of tonnage, where we actually pay this tenant money for our property. Is that accurate? And that we are supposed to pay 550 of equivalent of tons per day, which will grow up to 1,000 tons per day. What is the rationale behind that, if that is true? And what are we going to get? And then also we are the ones who carry the rubbish to Pomona like we have always been doing. Is that so? You want to answer?
Okay, I think I was just trying to get an opinion maybe from the chamber and the mayor. Since this matter is before the court, it seems it would not be wise for us to, if the mayor and the councillors, the documents are available for their perusal, but I think it might not be wise, I don't know, with the chamber secretary for us to take out all the documents. Maybe it can be done either by a committee or the mayor can ask for the documents.
Yakutopeza nguwa ngaiye kunoka toizera toona kuti the way forward.
They were whispering to me here that the various interpretations that the matter is before the court, and I said that we issued a public notice to everyone are interested in this matter, that we were going to discuss the Pomona issue. And when we issued that, we have not received an interdict, we have not received any attempt to stopping us or a letter. And as far as we are concerned, we derive our positions, even our reactions to court cases, we derive them from the council. Whether we prosecute something or we don't prosecute something, we derive it from the council. And I believe that at the end of the day, it is council that is going to pay, it is council that is paying, it is council, because if we are going to be paying amounts of money and we fail to pay salaries, it is not going to be private matter. If we fail if we pay an operations, or if we are going to liquidate the council because we have got and entered a contract without a bankable feasibility study, without anything and we are going to pay the amount, then surely we should be able to discuss it. We cannot close our eyes. If there was an interested party who felt that they wanted to stop the proceedings of this council, they should have made an application to do so and say, yes, we are stopped. We noticed that you are going to discuss this. We've now applied to make you stop. And if a High Court judge had made us stop, then we would stop. But I don't see an interdict. I don't understand why we should stop discussing. And we've simply made a simple inquiry. Are we paying anything per day? Or not? If we are paying, someone says yes. If we are not paying, someone says no. If we are paying, how much are we paying? And why? In as much as you are giving us the report of all those other things of what happened. So my question is very simple, say, before you get questions from other councillors. Are we paying anything? And how much?
Thank you, Worship. I think through the TC approach that maybe the figures, they're supposed to be attachments, the contract document which has all the figures and everything. But in terms of the MOA signed, the minimum tonnage is indeed 550 tons, is going to have a cumulative increase to 1,000 tons in a 5-year period. And then the gate fees are pegged at $40 per ton, from which the city is also going to be receiving, I think, 40% of the electricity sales, which are going to be invested from there.
So he said that we are paying. So that we move. The contract requires us to pay easily. How much does it require us to pay per day? That's the question. If it's 40, you said 40 years per ton.
Yes.
So it's 50 per ton. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. I think there's a question which was raised by the town clerk. I think it was prudent, the Chamber Secretary, to advise the House before we proceed. That since you are also cited in the matter at the courts, both yourself, Councillor Mutizwa, and the city, that are we privy to go into details of this matter before we proceed? Thank you.